We're here at Khosla Ventures with Keith Rabois. Keith, great to see you.
Pleasure to be here.
So really want to pick your brain on a lot of topics. You have a ton of experience. So wanted to start out with, you spent a lot of years as an angel investor, very successful angel investor. What has the transition been like to being part of an institutional fund? What has maybe you felt given you an advantage in making that transition, and what's been maybe a steeper part of the learning curve?
Sure. So I think there's some pretty fundamental differences between being an angel, or what I call an amateur investor, and being a professional, which is a venture capitalist. The biggest difference is time. So when you're an angel investor, you're really not committing your time, and you're certainly not committing your time over a decade. So when you become a professional, you're with this company, you're basically married to the company and the entrepreneur until like death or, sort of the marriage vow sort of relationship. And so your scarcest resource becomes your actual time. Like, how much time can I spend with this company? Can I spend a sufficient amount of time counseling the entrepreneur, helping the entrepreneur? And can I do that over a sustained period of time? Whereas an angel investor decision is more around, do I believe in this entrepreneur? Do I believe in the vision? Do I care about this? And if so, I'll invest and then hope the entrepreneur does really well. And if something is really acute, if there's a tragedy or an inflection moment, they'll call and ask for feedback and advice. Whereas this is more in a constant, consistent relationship. So when I invest now, I meet with the entrepreneur I'm investing in, if I'm joining a board, for example, every week or every 2 weeks.
Wow.
And so as an angel, that's very, very rare.
Yeah. And was that an easy transition to make, or did you feel like you had to sort of restructure your whole schedule and how you think about your time?
I definitely think every time you do a new role, whether you're getting promoted within a company or a new professional role, how you manage your time is probably the greatest asset and the most difficult thing. I don't think anybody really manages their time as well as they would like to. And the tools that are available, whether Google Calendar or various apps you can buy for your phone, aren't that great at helping you. Nor actually is the practice that most VCs have of having an administrative assistant or an executive assistant if you're in a company, because you start turning over your time allocation to somebody else. And that's the scarcest resource. If you think about it, the one thing you can't mint more of is actually time. And so if that's your scarcest resource, it's something you should be leveraging and deciding as much as possible. So one of the things I do with both CEOs and people who've reported to me is I'll actually do a calendar audit. So for example, a classic question, you ask a CEO, what's the most important priority? They will always say it's like recruiting and talent. Then look at their calendar, pull up their calendar and see what percentage of their time they're actually interviewing people, closing people, assessing people. It's probably like 10 or 20%. And you're like, well, you just told me that was your number one priority. Why isn't it 50%? So I think matching your priorities against your time is a really important resource. Now figuring out how to allocate my time is different than running a company. The problem is you don't get feedback right away. In a company, you get metrics every day, every hour if you're obsessive, certainly every week, every month, and every quarter. Here, we get feedback at very glacial paces. And so I don't know whether I should be doing more or less, at least from an empirical perspective, with my calendar.
Right, and you're just a few months in, right? As
7+ months.
months. Okay, got it.